Penguin Random House Canada presents The Sleeping Giant, The Misewa Saga, Book 5, by David Robertson. Read for you by Brefny, Caribou, and David Robertson. Books are portals. 1. Eli's heart was pounding, and he felt dizzy. He wasn't sure if it was due to palpitations or the feeling of the pull. This was the strongest he had ever felt drawn somewhere. And this time, it wasn't a call to the woods, or to a stone, or to anything in the North Country. He felt as though he was being summoned into the endless sky, to wherever his mother lived, the Star Woman. When he had finally understood that it had to be true, that the Star Woman was really his mother, Eli had felt like fainting. A celestial being who had come to Aski through a portal in the sky, the Star Woman had clearly passed on to Eli, her son, the ability to open portals. Many pictures on walls in Ministik showed a child who had been born to the Star Woman and a Cree man. Nobody knew what had happened to that child, until now. What did it mean that he was only part human? That and countless other questions pounded in Eli's mind, and it started to make him feel woozy. Before him, the village of Ministik was crumbling, burned down by the bad humans who had taken the Pisiskoak. At best, the animal beings like Ace and Sasak would be put on display in a zoo. At worst, Eli didn't want to imagine. He felt as if his world was crumbling too. Not burned down, but still shattered. He didn't know how he would build it back up again. For the first time, Eli thought he knew how Morgan felt, what it meant to her to have been missing her mother for so many years. He remembered his father, and he was still his father's son. He knew that. He knew, as well, that he would always be the son of the mother who had adopted him, because kinship in his community didn't hold the requirement of blood ties. His adoptive mother would always be his mom. But he had another mother now, and he wondered the same things that Morgan had wondered for most of her childhood. Where was she? What happened to her? Why had she given him up? Why had she left him on Aski and gone back to the sky world? Maybe she didn't think he was good enough, worth staying for. "You okay, bro?" Morgan asked. The question startled Eli, who hadn't noticed Morgan and Emily approaching him, hand in hand, from the ruins of the council hut. "Yeah, you don't look so good," Emily said. "How would you feel," Eli started, weakly, "if you found out that you weren't fully human?" "Good question," Emily said. "I can't relate, dude." Morgan let go of Emily's hand and held Eli's forearm firmly, as though ready to keep him steady if he passed out. He must have looked very close to doing just that. "Come on," she said. "The Star Woman stuff? That's just the tip of the iceberg. We've all been through a lot, and now this? I've dealt with anxiety. At a certain point, your brain is like, you're done. Let's go sit down." "Maybe that's a good idea," Eli said. The girls guided him safely to the long grass that surrounded Ministik and helped him sit down just before he passed out, extinguishing his thoughts. That must have been his brain telling him, "No, you're actually done, so stop thinking for now." His brain could not stop him from dreaming, though. He was having one of those dreams where you're running and trying to catch something, but you never get close enough, no matter how hard you try. Forever ahead of Eli was his mother. moving like a dancing candle flame. She wasn't even running. She was walking, and so Eli was walking too. "Can't you wait up and walk beside me?" he called to her. "Not yet, son," she said. "Why not?" he asked. "There will come a time for you to seek me out, and I will be here, waiting for you," she told him. "But you have other things to do before then." "The villagers," he said. She stopped suddenly, turned around, and burned more brightly than ever. She was so bright that he felt blinded. He covered his eyes with his forearm, but it did nothing. His eyes began to tear up from the intensity of the light. She came closer and closer. Eli saw red through his eyelids and all the tiny blood vessels in them. "Open your eyes," a voice said. It wasn't his mother's voice. It was his sister's. The light died down to a glimmer, and he opened his eyes and was conscious again. "There you go," Morgan said. With a hand on his back, she helped him come up to a sitting position. Immediately, he looked skyward, as though the Star Woman would be there, a remnant from his dream. It had been a long day. It seemed impossible to believe that it was only that morning that they had set out with Mohegan and Eric to go to Ministik for help with their rescue mission, only to find the village burning down. It was now night, and Eli was able to see the stars, but not his mother. He found all the constellations he knew, saving Ochekuchakusak for last. Their friend Ochek had risen into the sky after sacrificing himself to save the North Country. Eli imagined a new constellation, in the shape of a boy, right next to Ochek's. It was such an odd thing to comprehend, that the sky was a place where he belonged. Mohegan and Eric had come to sit with the girls and Eli, and they stayed together in silence for what seemed like hours. Eli was sure they were all trying to process what had happened. Eli could feel his own thoughts pushing down on him like a pressure headache. "There's so much I don't understand," Eli said. It was the first time any of them had spoken in a long while. He saw Morgan turn towards him. She nodded, reached over, put her hand on his hand, and patted it. "Brother," she said, "I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that you not understanding is probably normal in this case." "Normal?" Eli scoffed. "This is the furthest thing from normal." "You know what I mean," she said. "It's not every day you learn that you're from the sky, dude," Emily said. "Like, damn." She made the universal, mind-blown gesture. "It must be so weird knowing that you're only part human," Morgan said. "I mean, look at how you can open portals. Now we know why. Mystery solved." "That's one mystery," Eli said. "There's only about 1,000 more mysteries to figure out." "I can hardly even open the rusty old gate at the hockey rink," Emily said. "Opening portals to other worlds? That's dope." "The hardest door I ever opened was that attic door," Morgan said. "Remember how painted over it was?" That door had been painted and repainted so many times that Morgan had needed to use a box cutter to slice through all the layers before she was able to open it. Once inside, Eli had created his first portal there, with a drawing. Since then, opening portals to other dimensions had become easier. He didn't need a drawing anymore. Eli held his hands out and stared at them. He felt the power in them. He knew what he could do.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?